And welcome everybody to episode 36 of Rime of the Frost Maiden. I'm Samson Paul with the party here with me tonight. How is everyone doing?
Great!
Oh boy.
Like, good, I guess.
Sorry, wrong show.
Oh man. Well, it was good to be back after a short hiatus. Taking a little bit of a break as everybody's schedules got busy, and back tonight, episode 36. So let's get into the cheap plugs. Chris, would you like to plug the tavern?
Yeah, the tavern. We're a Facebook group. We're pretty cool. Come join us. I'm gonna keep it short so we can get into the D&D.
All right. Follow us on social media. Here, of course, on Twitch, Samson Paul. Twitter, Samson Paul. Check the Instagram link in the profile down below. Our artist, Megan Roden, has done some great work with all of our characters, and she's working on a new one. As last episode, we had lost a dearly beloved carcass to the aliens who took him back to his home planet, allegedly. Yes, that is Carcass. He will remain in the emote section for all to use. As we unlock more emote slots, they will drop down into tiers. I don't want to put any sort of like paywall behind these emotes. But with that being said, we'll do a quick little recap of not last week, but the last episode. Where the party has decided to they took upon themselves to go deal with stuff happened. Let's go. To deal with the Mind Flayer threat, and ventured out into the wilderness, discovering a few things along the way. Carcass, the Minotaur, did not want anything to do with the Yagul, as he called them, which is his term for the Mind Flayers. But after being persuaded to overcome this fear, it was soon discovered why he feared these Mind Flayers, and it's on this trip that he was abducted by the Mind Flayers. He was a guest on this ship and was fed nothing but vegetables, to which he was very upset and afraid of having to eat vegetables for longer than any period of time which he has come. So from there, Carcass decided that he wanted to go home, and the Mind Flayers agreed to be able to take them back with the power source that was found by Silas that week. So they made the even trade for some alien weaponry in return for this little device that was going to power their ships. And we ended off on that episode with the door being slammed shut on the goodbyes, because apparently that Mind Flayer did not like elongated, drawn out goodbyes. And the party sans Carcass stands outside of this spaceship, about maybe 30 feet away, trudging back through the snow on this cold wintry evening. Not sure on where they're going or where they plan to go at this point, so we'll take it from there as you guys are walking back through this valley with no real direction, and having already said goodbyes to Carcass. What would you guys like to do? Where would you like to go?
I feel like someone's missing. I understand Carcass had to go, but it doesn't necessarily feel right without him. Smells a little better, but doesn't feel right. You understand?
Yeah. Do miss him. But I'm glad he got to go home.
Yeah, he'll be happier there, I suppose.
Plus side, I got this shiny little thing that I'd hold in my hands. I have no idea what it does. Should I examine it? And Silas will kind of point at his eye for a moment before turning it back around.
above table. Sam, did you say I got one too?
Yes, you did.
Does it match Silas's?
They are pretty uniform, yes.
What he wants to know is, does Silas's look better than his? Does he want to take it?
As it so happens, I also have one of these shiny things. I do recall the Mind Flayer pointing it and it doing some damage to the wall, but I don't recall exactly how that worked.
Very fascinating. Well, I suppose we could always wait until a poor, unfortunate soul comes upon us.
Yes, anyone will do.
Like a vegan of some sort.
Absolutely.
Throwback to an earlier episode.
Maybe the pastry lady. This'll solve those pastries.
Okay, above table, don't you dare.
Yeah, no. I'll come for you.
Which
Above
brings up
table,
another-
good luck.
Bet.
Which brings up another good point as to where we should head now. There are a number of things our attention may require, so there are more than just two choices. I have some recommendations, but, I'd be happy to just throw out all the options if you'd like.
Yes, please refresh me. I feel like it's been a 20-day.
Of course. So, obviously we need to go back to Bryn Shander to report our findings with the Mind Flayers. And also in Bryn Shander, there's this talk of a black cabin that might be worth investigating. And then Artemis, some fuck named Artemis is supposed to do something with the amulet. I don't remember, but that's there too. Let's see. And then we could always go to East Haven to investigate that fish hook. That's where we thought that lady lived. Then there's also checking out more of the crystals at Tourmaline. Let's see. Then there's the wrecked ship, the Dark Duchess in east of Brennan that I overheard someone talk about. Then there's looking for the Duragar's fortress in the spine of the world, which would be a very safe and fun venture, I'm sure. And then, of course, we could go back to Netherroll to make sure Avarice is, what she is. Let's see. And, I need to return my books to the library at Bryn Shander as well.
Oh yeah, I actually do need to do that too.
What exactly
I don't want those late fees. Those
what
stay on your
exactly
permanent
was
record,
going on with that black cabin? I forget.
Well, we'd have to talk more with Copper the Gnome in Bryn Shander, but apparently it's haunted. I don't remember much else about that, truth be told, but I just filed it away in my little brain.
Above table, I remember you hearing people talking about that, and it was just a cabin that's shrouded in mystery and supposedly haunted, and almost no one knows anything about it except for that dwarf.
Right, so there could be something of intrinsic value there, potentially. So obviously there's a lot out there, and I've devised a plan to allow us to go do all of these things in the most efficient manner possible. But
Really?
of course, yes, if you can believe it, I'm a thinker. I do have my moments. So since we are relatively close to East Haven, and East Haven is on the way to Netherroll, where Avarice is, we could go to East Haven, ask about the fishhook, on our way to Netherroll to deal with Avarice. And then we can continue on our way to Bryn Shander and do all the things that there are to do in Bryn Shander with the Black Cabin and whatnot. And then we can continue north to Brennan to check out the Dark Duchess. So the only thing I'm leaving out of this equation would be the Duragar, so I guess it depends on how important that is to you.
The Duragar is very important, but I don't think we're ready to deal with that yet. So I actually agree with your plan.
Me too. That sounds very efficient.
Well, we don't need to go to the Dark Duchess. I told you there's nothing else there.
Right, we do not. We can scratch that one off the grocery list.
I don't know anything about it. Why? What makes you two so sure there's nothing there?
Yes.
Because I've been there.
Oh. When?
That's how I got here.
Oh. I see.
We have gone over this in the past, but it's a bit of a touchy subject. Let's move on.
Very well. Then we will not go to Bremen, since that is the only thing there, according to all of my findings. Great! Then to East Haven, then.
I don't think it would hurt to head to Bryn Shander as soon as possible, collect our reward for dealing with these mind flares, and maybe a little bonus since we tragically lost Carcass in battle.
I don't disagree with you, Silas, but if we go to Bryn Shander first, that's way the fuck out of our way. Then we waste so much time going all the way back to East Haven and Netherall, and since I can tell Netherall is a very high priority amongst us, it would be best efficient use of our travel time to go there first and be swift.
To be fair, I do feel like it should be stated that since Netherall wasn't the first place we went, there's a very good chance that Avarice won't even be there now. So I wouldn't say it's a super high priority anymore. It was a higher priority in my mind when we knew that that's where she would be. It's still worth checking out, but it's not a high priority to me anymore because there's no telling if she'll be there.
So in that case, since in my humble opinion, the fishhook lady is a bit of a very unknown, since we only vaguely know she even lives in East Haven, we could just skip East Haven altogether in that case, but it's up to you, really. I'm just throwing it out there.
That I have no problem either way. It's basically on the way. So, I mean, we're heading to Bryn Shander either way. We may as well do these couple things on the way there, is the way I see it. But if anyone is opposed to doing them, I'm not bothered by that either.
You made a magnificent plan, Lek. I'd like to stick with it.
I agree.
Very well. All right. Then to East Haven to investigate the hook, and perhaps get our hooks into some things of our own.
Just look at Lek very who are you right now?
I have never attempted to hide who I am. I say with my own look, since obviously he didn't say that. I just look at him in a way that says, I am me.
I feel like this hook might be a good plot for a novel. It's quite a plot hook, if you ask me.
Well, obviously, Lek in the last 4 hours, I guess, in game, he's become a manager of a logistics facility or a shipping company of some sort.
No shit, those trucks would be on time.
Hey,
yeah.
I have never concealed the fact that I care about saving time. It's always been a top priority.
That's true.
Just haven't had so many things to do up until now.
Yes, you had mentioned you had an ability to save us some time. Did you learn the montage spell?
Poor dog is gonna die.
If only.
Could have been a montage. Montage. All right. So, to East Haven is what I grasped from that. So, you guys
I
start
wouldn't mind
to-
going to Tourmaline as well, but we can cross that bridge when we come to it.
So as you start to trek out, your visibility starts to drop as the sun sets on the mountainous crest of this valley, and cross over that river that you had passed through recently, where you found that girl lying face down, where you found that crystal. You start to make your way towards East Haven. Let's pull out my new special Vox Machina dice. Roll those for encounters. All right. So as the light starts to dampen and the sun further falls from view, you catch a drop in the air pressure, and you start to feel the wind starting to pick up in this wintry hellscape. It definitely feels like there is something brewing. And I would like those who are interested to make a survival check to try to identify what is going on with the weather.
That's a 14 from Lysander.
Okay.
I got a 22 for Andy.
A dirty 20 for Silas.
I got a 9.
Lek didn't really care.
So, Andy, with that high of a roll, you definitely can tell that there is a storm front brewing, but it's off to the west, and heading in that direction would put you guys in line with having to go through that storm to get to the likes of Goodmead or Bryn Shander at the furthest point. But you don't see very much inclement weather ahead heading towards East Haven.
Okay.
Curious, did someone sit on another strange chair?
I mean, I haven't recently, as glorious as the first one was.
How long does it take to get to East Haven?
I believe, let's refer to the ledger. That
Too
is
long.
roughly an 8-hour journey from where you currently are estimated.
Is it that long because we have to walk through the snow?
Yeah, because you're on foot.
Well, Andy is going to cast my present to the group this level up. She's going to cast Water Walk. For 1 hour, this spell grants the ability to move across any liquid surface, such as water, acid, mud, snow, quicksand, or lava, as if it were harmless, solid ground. Up to 10 willing creatures I can see within range gain the ability for the hour.
Dope.
Is anyone
Wow.
not willing?
That is pretty fucking cool.
All my
What'd you
new
say,
spells were
Sam?
selfish.
Is anyone not willing?
Oh no,
Only-
saving time is
I'm not willing. I'm super willing.
Only stupid people.
So now, I don't know how much that'll cut down our journey, but for an hour we can walk like we're walking on regular old fucking ground.
Sure can. All right. So you guys, with this newfound footing, have started to make your way towards East Haven, and you feel like you have cut your time in half. Because difficult terrain usually adds, for every 5 feet it feels like you've moved 10, so you're cutting your time in half with this.
Yeah.
Outstanding work, Adriana.
I
Thank
can't
you.
tell you how much I appreciate how much time
I
you've
thought that
saved.
spell would be useful.
Would you be able to do this to me if we went back to Cormyr?
Yes, but I couldn't maintain it for terribly long yet.
Oh no, I just need to jaunt across the lake to show those fuckers what's what.
Yes, Silas, you know what? Your family has been terrible enough. I will grant you that.
Perfect. Thank you.
So, with that, night having fallen onto you guys, I would like someone to make a survival check to be able to track their way back to East Haven, and then we resolve travel.
I can do it.
Right.
Well,
I
I believe
can help
in you.
you out.
All right.
Wonderful.
I'll give you some inspiration if that's.
Thank you very much for your help, because that made it a 26.
Yeah. So you're able to point out landmarks, particularly the mountain range nearby. You recall passing it on your way from Good Mead, and you can triangulate your direction to East Haven from there. So travel continues pretty seamlessly. You guys make it in half the amount of time that you were expected to, and you happen upon East Haven at night, in the thick of things. As it seems, there seems to be a number of people still out and about, as it's about probably 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon during this darkness. Where would you guys like to go? Any place in particular?
Tavern, I would guess.
I suspect the tavern would be our best choice to get information.
So you head down to the nearest tavern, which is not the White Lady Inn, if I recall correctly. It is another one, and you make your way in. There's a number of people inside, drinking, having their dinner, trading stories about the day, and bartender greets you, this dwarf, and he looks and says, "What'll it be?"
Oh, I'll have some mead.
Mead's all around.
Yeah, sure, why not?
That would be fine.
I don't suppose you have wine, so mead it is.
Oh, mead is wine.
Yes, but it's not good wine. It's fine.
Andy kind of like looks at Silas sideways when he says mead is wine, like she's ready to have to hold him back.
Yeah. Silas is pretty well composed, all things considering the absolute insult.
Yeah, Vega chuckles audibly when he says meat is wine.
Oh yeah, Eclipse thinks this is hilarious.
So he rounds up all the mead, and he says, that'll be 14 silver.
I'll take this one.
Oh. Thank you, Silas.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, thank you.
And Silas pays 14 silver and nothing more.
Okay.
Oh, Silas
pays
is that
in
kind of
copper.
person.
Andy is going to slide over an additional 2 silver for a tip.
And thank you kindly.
And while we have you here, good sir, has there been a woman asking for anyone to investigate a stolen fish hook by chance?
Oh, yes, of course. And he starts to look around the tavern like he's seen her recently, and he says, well, it doesn't seem like that she's here, but I can tell you they have a particular heirloom that had gone missing. It was fishing tackle. If that was a hook, I assume that's what she was talking about.
Does she come here often?
She does. She spent a lot of time here this morning after coming into town from, I don't even know where exactly. But I did hear everything she was talking about, and these things that had stolen this fish hook from her.
Very good. Then we'll plan on swinging back by again tomorrow morning, and if you see her before then, let her know that we are interested.
Of course.
And I'll give him silver for that information as well.
All right. He says, well, if information has a price, I don't have a problem divulging everything I've heard.
Speak on, good sir.
Well, supposedly, this tackle was taken by a group of gnolls that were traversing the hillside just west or east of here. And it's said that our trappers have run into this gnoll-infested hole in the ground, quite literally, that they seem to call home. If I were a betting man, I would bet they would take it there.
All right.
Truth be told, you may not be the first on this endeavor.
Well, it's all right. I always enjoyed a little healthy competition.
Well, I think they've got a half-day's journey ahead of you.
Andy just smirks because she has her spell now.
Well, thank you kindly, sir, for this additional information. It will be most helpful.
Yes, of course. If you travel northeast of here, you'll hit some rolling hills, and you'll come across a spot that looks like someone took a great dagger and drove it straight into the earth. It's a chasm of sorts.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
And he holds out his hand, fingers open.
Solus will give him a low five.
Lek will go ahead and give him another silver.
Says thank you kindly. Is there anything else I can help you with tonight?
No, I'd say that about does it. Although, out of curiosity, have you happened to have seen, or maybe experienced a very rude woman, goes by the name of Avarice, come through here recently?
Avarice does not ring a bell.
Well, you'd remember her, so thank you again for your time, sir.
Oh, anytime.
And then I'll turn to my compatriots. Well, if you'd like my opinion, I say we set out right now. If there are already people on this particular case, and get there and see what's what, then come back, and lady comes here every morning, we can then settle up with her then.
Is it?
The only problem I have
do
with
that again.
Go with that question first. That's a good question.
I missed the question. What was the question?
He was asking if she can cast that spell again.
I can, yes. Well, it's a more difficult spell, so I won't be able to do other more difficult spells if we get into a great deal of trouble.
You said it lasts an hour, right?
Yeah. But I can do it once more. But I should have enough magic to keep us going with healing after that for a while.
Or we
I
can
have
simply rest for
some
the
new
evening.
tricks up my sleeve as well, in regards to that. So,
Yeah, then we might as well go.
my only problem with leaving right away is that we just ordered mead. So I'm going to need at least 5 to 7 seconds to finish this before we leave.
That's fine, of course.
All right, and then I'll chug it real quick. And
okay, then I will chug
Ready
mine as
anytime.
well.
So will Andy.
Chug!
Solus will pour his into like a plant.
Oh my god.
So I will correct something. You guys traveled a little bit faster than what you're supposed to. Now that I recall, it only lasts for an hour. So we'll keep that in mind.
So we would have cut that hour down in half.
Yeah,
so
you would have
2
covered
hours of travel in an hour.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
To be fair, we could just rest and then take off in the morning as well. Have a hot meal.
I vote we just get this taken care of and then come back and rest.
Yeah, why waste time?
Ah, my thoughts exactly.
as the person who doesn't have to sleep for more than 4 hours.
Not my problem.
He's also the one of us who's had the most of his time wasted, so.
Yeah,
Too soon.
I've got nothing but time.
So your meads come out. You guys drink them or water the plants with them. And after that, are you guys planning on setting off?
It appears so.
I think so.
With a quick pit stop for some refreshments, you guys head out of the tavern, back out into the streets of East Haven. Going through town and maneuvering to the northeast, you come to the wilderness towards that direction. There's rolling tundra, and you see the sparse mountain range kind of in the distance, and you head the direction that you were told. So whoever is rolling survival, please do so now.
Own it.
And Andy will help him, and she's also casting that spell.
That would be a 25.
5. All right. So you pick up on all the landmarks that he had pointed out to you quite easily, and you believe you are on your way in the right direction.
Right on, right on.
So let's take a look.
I feel as though we should address something.
Uh-oh.
Yes, Silas?
I normally tip. I feel like everyone's judging me for not giving that man more silver.
You'd be correct.
We understand that you have an affinity for wine and are deeply insulted when mead is compared to wine.
Yes, absolutely. If he wasn't an asshole, he probably would have gotten at least 2 gold out of me.
But see, it wasn't exactly an asshole. He does think it's wine. He's just different. That's why I tipped him. And also because we needed information from him.
Well, yeah, ignorance and assholishness aren't the exact same thing.
But
There
we
can
do
be a lot of
understand
overlap,
that you
though.
tend to feel personally attacked when someone downplays wine.
It's delicious, it's fruity, it gives you the right kind of buzz. It makes you feel warm inside and makes you feel good about yourself for at least a little while. Mead is just... it's too sweet. Might as well be, crushing tomatoes and soaking them in sugar. It's disgusting.
That does sound disgusting. Above table.
Yeah, it's called ketchup, above table.
It sounds really gross.
Oh.
Remind me never to try ketchup.
Will do. Remind you at the next family barbecue.
Appreciate it.
So, as you guys start to continue your way out of East Haven and through the wilderness, I would like everyone to roll perception checks.
Mm. 17 for Vega.
21 for Andy.
11 for Silas.
Okay.
8.
13 for Cliv. Shut up,
Alright.
Andy.
Black got an 8. So.
As did Lysander.
Twinsies.
All right. So everyone that rolled over a 14, as you crest over one of these rolling hills of tundra, you see sticking up out of the snow look to be 4 or 5 bodies of some sort lying lifeless down in the valley, barely peeking up out of the snow.
Oh, and Andy's gonna go over and try and check on them and see if anyone's still alive.
Hey guys, looks like our competition didn't fare so well, and I'm gonna walk up behind her and help.
So as you start to encroach closer, you see very plainly that these are not humanoid bodies, but these are bodies of gnolls that are very ruggedly outfitted. You start to see the paws as you draw closer in the tails, and as you start to inspect them, you see very small, precise incisions. It looks like it was a rapier used, as some of us in this party are familiar with rapiers. And then in a number of these bodies, you also see that there is a bolt, a crossbow bolt, directly between the eyes of a few of these gnolls. And the bolt, it protrudes so deeply into the skull. You've never seen a crossbow with such power, or fired at such close range.
Can we tell
Upon seeing that,
Can we tell how like fresh the bodies or the wounds are?
Go ahead and make a medicine check.
Can I
and
do
upon
that as
seeing
well?
that, I'm gonna turn to the party and just say, well, I take that back. It looks like our competition has fared very well. We might not have a job anymore.
Might I make an observation? It appears these gnolls have been nullified.
roll a
Does appear
d20.
that way.
Roll a d20.
Very well.
Andy got a 26 on medicine check.
Okay.
Oh, bullocks. It's got a 2.
Yes,
Did I
it
use
does
my
appear
Black's
that our
like,
contract is
This
null and
one's not
void.
quite dead yet.
Oddly enough, as you let that roll from your lips, Lek, through the echoing of the valley, you hear,
Oh!
Oh, what?
I guess the nullifiement was not complete.
just somewhere in the distance, you heard the cackling laugh of a gnoll.
Well, I think we should see about this laugh. I'll call out, is there someone there who appreciates my attempted humor?
And your call out is met with no response. Andy, with your medicine check, you can tell that these bodies are completely frozen. But with how long you guys have been out here, you would surmise that these bodies have been cold for about maybe 4 hours.
These guys have been dead for about 4 hours, and it looks like rapier wounds. Either a excellent shot with a crossbow or very close range. Seems like whoever did this is pretty skilled.
Can I scout the area for any tracks?
Sure. Go ahead and make a survival check.
While he's doing that, did I also hear the laugh that Lek heard?
Yeah, you did.
That is a 19.
Okay. With that 19, you do see that there are 3 sets of humanoid tracks. You're not exactly sure what race they are or anything like that. Just 3 different sets of boots, roughly similar in size, heading out northeast. And it looks like those are maybe 4 or 5 hours old as well.
Is that the same direction the laugh seemed to be coming from?
Yes.
I will point out the tracks and say, seems to be the direction that we might be headed.
Well, all onward and upward then. Yeah.
If we care to investigate.
Well, that's why we're here. But before we leave, Lek would like to cast Detect Magic on the bodies that are left. Since he can do that at will now.
Non-magical.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you, Detect Magic. Above deck.
All right.
Good spell to be able to cast at will, though.
Yeah, it is.
Could Silas actually pick through those pockets real quick? If they have any pockets? See
Yeah,
if there's anything of
absolutely.
use?
Go
Skin
ahead and
flaps.
roll investigation.
18?
18. What did these guys have on them? Let's see. Let's roll. So on these knolls, you find about 23 silver pieces between the 5 of them. And you find rudimentary spears and weaponry like that. Nothing of significant value, unfortunately.
Hey, made my money back. Plus a little extra for the drinks.
There you go.
And there's spears here if anyone wants them. I have no need.
I'll let you spearhead that.
Well, we should spearhead this job fast, or our contract might be null and void.
Yes, indeed. Let us follow the tracks.
Andy massages her temples.
You're a delight, Lek. Tell more jokes.
Well, I wouldn't want to get us off track or anything.
Oh, that was a good one.
So, you guys pick back up onto the trail, following Lysander's lead on the 3 tracks in the snow that he had found. And after about a half hour's travel from that point, you start to hear this resonant laughter. It's like a hyena laugh, if you can, you picture that, and it seems to be reverberating from some direction, in the general direction that you're going, but it seems to have a wide sort of range. Like you feel it coming in a little bit from the left, a little bit from the right, ahead of you anyway, so like 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock kind of thing. So it definitely seems like that you're on the right track.
Can I try and maybe step ahead a little bit and take a peek and see if we can see any gnolls in the distance?
Yeah, go ahead. Make a perception check.
Whew, 16?
16. So you don't spot any gnolls as you start to crest over this next hill, but you do see a large dark spot up ahead, probably about 200 feet or so as you start to descend downward. You look down, and as you all start to crest over, you all take notice of this as well. And as you draw closer to it, you start to see that there's large spikes of ice that seem to be going horizontally down through it, almost like this maw that has opened up inside of the earth has teeth inside, icy teeth from what it looks like, and the yawning chasm ahead of you threatens to devour you as if it were a giant icy maw. The wind sweeping through the mountains at your back can't drown out the sound of the now obvious inhuman cackling that echoes through the chasm's depths. So you start to see how large this cavern or not even a cavern, it's just a chasm, that is embedded into the earth. And you start to approach, and you can get a good idea of how deep it is. And it goes down quite a ways, just past most people's, even if you have dark vision, you can't see the very bottom. You can see a few shelves down below as it's layered. But all you can really hear as you start to listen is just the reverberation of the hyena-like laughter that's just resonating inside of this cavern.
Well, that's fascinating. I think they're down here.
Creepy.
Well, is there a certain strategy we would like to employ? We're just gonna go for it.
Well, how exactly do we descend down into the chasm, did you say?
So it looks like from your vantage point that there are shelves, but the first one looks to be about 30 feet down. There's no clear path as you peer into this chasm, if there's a way down or not.
It would be difficult to be stealthy since we're going to have to rappel down.
Does sound very repelling.
We're at a disadvantage.
The laughter grows.
Andy narrows her eyes suspiciously.
Are there any trees around this chasm?
There are not any trees within 20 feet of this chasm, but you could go like 30 feet out and find a spruce tree that sprung up 20 years ago, you know? It's a full-size tree. But Zizix, I would like you to make an investigation check with your passive investigation.
My passive investigation is 18.
I meant your... Yeah. Okay, so it is 18? Okay. I knew it was high. Son of a bitch. So, as you guys start to look around and try to see if there's any way to transcend this chasm safely, you see at the south end of this chasm, there looks to be a cavern that's half buried in snow, and looks like there's a medium-sized crawl space, and you see darkness in this little mound of snow. Like you can go into it.
Hey guys, what about over there? And he'll point out the hole.
Andy will squint and kind of move over to get a closer look.
So as you start to get closer, this mound that you thought it initially was just rolling tundra looks to be carved out, and that is in fact an archway that seems to have some sort of entrance.
Do we think it's safe, or do you think they may have trapped it?
It's always worth checking.
Can I investigate to see if I see any traps on it?
On the entrance? Yeah, you sure can.
Just investigation, right?
Yep.
That's 14.
Yeah, no traps that you can see.
May I give it a go?
Why? You don't trust me?
No, I trust you. I just have another method.
Sounds like you don't trust me.
I think everyone's methods could be useful. If someone finds something someone else doesn't, that's helpful.
Alright. You don't trust me.
No, I trust you. Fine. You can go first.
The hell I will.
Why, you don't trust yourself?
Oh, I trust myself. I just trust that I'm always gonna die. And now that Carcass isn't here to protect me, like hell I'm going first.
Do you think I wouldn't protect you?
I'll protect you, Zizix. I've protected you before.
Well, let's just say I'm used to having Carcass around.
We're all used to having Carcass around, but unfortunately he's not here anymore. So we have to learn to adapt to this.
What about Pointy?
We'll have your back, Zizix.
What was that,
What?
Lysander?
Said, what about Pointy?
Well, I mean, yeah, I got Pointy, but he's even smaller than me.
You could send him in. He's like a mini version of Carcass, right?
I feel as though
I'll go
Pointy
in.
costs a lot more than what I would like to do.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Silas. Do it. Your idea. Go ahead.
And with that, Silas will sit on the ground with a piece of wood and some string, and I would like to ritual cast Unseen Servant, and then just send it in.
Okay.
So we're gonna sit here for 10 minutes?
Doesn't say it takes 10 minutes, I don't think.
Well, a ritual is 10 minutes, right?
It depends on the spell. Let's see.
Just says one action on there.
Yeah, it's not a ritual spell.
It is a ritual. So he can strum his strum his lute, and he casts Unseen Servant, and starts to head into this hole in the mound. Flight Path, welcome. Good to see you, buddy. So let's see. As it starts to enter in through this mound, nothing seems to spring. There's no light inside. I don't think you have Well, do you command it to do anything in particular? If it sees something weird, go ahead and explore that option a little bit more.
So I can't see too far in. I've got dark vision of 60 feet, but after it gets outside of 60 feet, it would poof anyway. So I suppose I'll just have it kind of move through and hopefully trick any tripwires if there's anything such as that.
Gotcha. So you just have it move on through, and your vision, you can see the back wall as you see that this mound starts to descend downward. So whereas everything would be sort of out of view, even though you could see into it. But the Unseen Servant moves through, and you don't hear anything outside of the echoing cackling that's coming from this chasm.
All right, then I'll call it on back and just say, all right, you were right, Zizix, I was wrong, but I want to make sure.
Well, I just see how it is.
I think that was a good
I
idea.
don't want you to die.
If you're afraid of dying, any extra precaution should be welcome.
I mean, I'm always afraid of dying.
Unlike
well then,
you,
it's a good thing
this
Silas
was
is here to help
expendable.
prevent it.
Yes, and unlike you, this was expendable.
That's like the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Yeah, of course. Great job, Uno. You did a wonderful job.
Who's Uno?
Oh, that's my unseen servant. When he dies, I'll go on to Dose and
I knew it.
Trace
Oh
and
god.
so on and so forth.
Well, we all know that Uno has an evil temperament, but I digress.
That they do.
So, with the Unseen Servant having explored inside and made his way back to Silas, who would like to go first?
I mean, still not Zizix.
Andy
if
will
it's-
go ahead.
Yeah, I'll accompany Adriana.
Okay. Let's pull this up. So, at the south end of the chasm, you start to descend downwards into this mound, and you have to kind of hunch over to clear the ceiling, but it opens up to be standard height as you start to descend the staircase that's there. You see it opens up into this room, and you see strewn about the floor, there are skulls, there are bones, looks like frozen blood embedded into the frozen ground, all around this room. And then you see further more descending stairs off to the left. As you start to draw closer inside of this room, you see that the skulls actually have blood symbols painted onto them.
This is very disgusting.
Yes, it is. Do the symbols mean anything to us?
If you would like to make a religion check, you certainly can.
Yeah, I'll give that a shot.
Andy got a 12.
Chalice with a 13.
The meaning of these symbols seems lost to you as you start to try to recall any sort of significance that you can draw from.
Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him.
I don't know what these mean.
Lek would like to cast Detect Magic on the symbols.
As you do, you are not getting any reception that they are magical.
Well, I can tell you there's no magic here.
Looks to
Until
be-
we have no service.
It looks to be just blood scrawled onto old skulls and bones. Oh, Nick, I think your mic's giving a buzz again.
Is that any better?
No, it's about the
Nope.
same.
Uh-oh.
Would anyone else like to try rolling a religion check?
I rolled a
I rolled a
7, so it
well.
wasn't worth mentioning.
Okay.
Zizix will.
Yeah, I
Go for
rolled
it.
garbage too.
I rolled a 3.
Oh boy.
For Zizix. Actually, one sec.
15, if that will do anything.
15 Eclipse. So
Yes.
with the 15, you recognize a number of these symbols, and they seem to represent Yinugua, the demon lord of nulls. You know him as the demon lord of nulls named Yeet.
Okay. Oh no, it's Yeet.
Eat?
Yeet?
Well, okay. Demon Lord Nulls is his professional name, I guess. We call
Oh.
him Yeet.
I will not say that.
That's great.
I'll never understand the youth.
So Demon Lord worship, so that's fun.
Seems to be par for the course.
So, as you start to get your bearings inside of this room, you note the staircase leading downwards further into this chasm, and then you also do see a what looks like a hallway headed off to the right, just slightly. Where would you like to go?
What do I smell?
You smell a perception check in your future.
Wonderful.
It's the new wave of
Advantage.
fortune telling.
Yeah, because Trump.
At first I thought you said because Trump, but then I realized you said Trump. I was like,
Ooh.
what? How are we
No.
Wait a
politicizing
minute.
this?
That would be disadvantage. I got 21.
So in the direction of the staircase, you don't really catch much of a smell, because this room kind of has a putrid smell to it with all of the rotting blood and bones that sit near, but you also get a stronger sense of rot coming from that hallway.
Guys, I think we should probably go down that hallway.
To the hallway.
And as you take those crude steps leading down a frigid hallway, is a 10-foot high cave filled with this putrid stench that everyone starts to pick up on. There are more bones of humanoids, and this time you notice animals scattered around the icy floor with bits of metal, torn strips of leather strewn about as well. Inside the center of this room, there seems to be some rudimentary stone table that was erected. Looks to be about 4 foot tall.
I'm starting to get a bad feeling about this.
Yeah.
Good to know I'm not alone.
But this is where the hallway ends, inside of this feasting room.
Andy is going to just draw her warhammer as they stroll along.
Okay, so we're in the feasting room. There's no living creatures around that we can see.
Correct.
Okay. Well,
There's no one hiding in here, I assume.
You can make an investigation check if you
Yes.
like.
Wow, 24. Really upset I used that on probably nothing.
Well, so as you start strewing about the room and kicking over piles of bone that have collected themselves, you are able to find a coin purse that holds, let's see, 4 gold, 14 silver, and 21 copper pieces.
Dibs.
And in addition to that, ow! You also come across a dark blue scarf that catches your eye. It looks to be kind of that navy blue color.
Oh, this is going to match my jacket. I'll put it on immediately. Protect my neck.
The wow was because I rolled on the trinket table and I got a natural 100. It's like, oh, this.
Oh, that's beautiful. I had one of those a few sessions ago in my home game.
I don't think I've ever rolled a natural 100, so that was exciting.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
So nice blue scarf. Looks nice. How's it smell?
Oh, it smells like death.
Can you make this smell like cranberries or something else?
I take the scarf and cast Detect Magic on it.
You do catch a faint sense of magic coming from this scarf.
Any particular type of magic?
I guess it would be divination magic.
I see. Alright. Noted. I also cast Prestidigitation and... Did you say cranberries was your desired flavor, Silas?
It's not, but I know you're going to do it anyway, so.
Oh, no. I cast Prestidigitation, make it smell like crayon apple. There you go.
Oh, thank you. And I'll wrap it around and give it a small whiff, hoping it smells a little bit better.
Oh yeah, smells much better.
Ah, very tolerable. Thank you, Lek.
Of course.
You know what? I'll throw Lek a gold.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
That's a tip.
Yes, I gathered as much. Yes.
So, new scarf, coin purse. All in all, everything's coming up sightless in this cave. Where next?
We still have not found the actual item we came in search of, and I have this growing suspicion that something else is lurking here.
Or someone.
Or someone that's a thing.
People aren't things, never mind. It's semantics.
Indeed.
Down the stairs, then.
I suppose so.
So
Into the thick of it.
into the thick of it.
Into the thick of it.
Tramping through the blood.
On and on we tread.
Into the thick of it.
Fucking
But we
words.
can't smell where we're going.
Adriana can't see.
Oh, that's great.
Ugh.
So, as you start trudging back through the cave, down the steps you go. 30 feet below the surface, you start to see that you've reached the second level of this chasm. The laughter of these gnolls, or hyenas, you're not exactly sure the distinction at this point. You see that there is an icy ledge that surrounds this level. It doesn't look like there's any sort of drawbridge or any sort of landmass that you can traverse over and go over the chasm depths. It looks like the best way to move about the chasm is to shimmy across the ledge that seems to be about 5 foot wide. And as you start to take a look down, you can see further down into the chasm, there are gnolls that are dead, impaled on some of these fang-like protrusions on the ground. And you see a number of these also sticking out from the sides of the walls, just spears of icicle just jutting out from the walls of this chasm.
Well, someone does efficient work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy's gonna glance around to see if there's any like tracks leaving the scene or something that would like lead them to whoever did this.
Sure. Go ahead and roll investigation.
That's a 20, not natural.
So with that, you do see some tracks that are humanoid in shape, and they seem to be moving towards the northwest and shimmying around the side. But it's hard to say exactly if they were the cause of this or what, because you do see a bunch of bones down there as well.
She's gonna go ahead and follow the tracks anyway.
I will follow right behind her.
I will watch from a safe distance.
All right.
Silas will go in as well.
I would like everyone to make a dexterity check as you start to shimmy across.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm really good at those.
I got a natural 1.
Luckily, it's a group dexterity check.
I got a 10 plus 1, so 11.
I got a 17.
18 for Lek.
Okay.
Sorry, check or saving throw?
Check.
Okay, I had to find out if I was +0 or -1. So 8.
Okay. Zizix?
I got a dirty 20.
Believe that's everybody? Or
Eclipse got a 10.
there we go. Okay. Alright. And that allows you all to safely shimmy around the side. Andy starts to lose her footing just a little bit, but Vega and Lek are able to reach out and give her a little bit of stability as she starts to move around.
Thanks.
Don't mention it.
So, as you start to move around, you happen across, let's see, what was that? You happen across a room that has some sort of statue erected inside. It looks to be made of stone, but also desecrated. And inside of this room, you see 4 gnolls that look to be sitting and facing this statue. They haven't seemed to have noticed your arrival at this point. What would you like to do?
I could always try out my new weapon.
Ooh, I could try out my new weapon.
I would like you, Silas and Lek, to make a stealth check.
To make a what?
A stealth check?
Oh, that's a 12.
That's an 18.
There it is.
Call me Sly.
No.
So
Well,
as Silas starts to talk about options, you see the ears of one of the gnolls start to twitch, and he turns around and makes direct eye contact with the group that's peering in, and he pats the others on the back, and they stand up, and they look, and they don't seem to be advancing on you or anything. They just seem to be very stoic and very cautious.
Silas would like to kind of call out to in Infernal. Do you serve him?
And you catch wind of them just chattering to each other, but they look at the shrine and they start to kind of form like a little bit of a wall around the shrine. They don't seem to be advancing aggressively towards you or anything.
How far away are they?
30 feet at the most.
You said they were chattering amongst themselves. What language do they speak?
No.
It's its own language. That's great.
Yep.
Would I know if I would be able to communicate with them by casting Speak with Animals?
So gnolls, I believe, are monstrosities and not animals.
Okay, that makes sense. That's what I was afraid of.
Oh no, they're humanoid. So no, it still wouldn't work.
Then either way, no. Okay.
Not to sound like a broken record, but I'd like to cast Detect Magic on the shrine they are in round.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to be looking for all the magic stuff now that it's at will, right?
You're damn straight I am.
Fucking bet.
But no, there is no magic emanating from any area inside of this room.
I'll whisper to the side. They appear to be religious idiots.
Lots of those going around. That's a topic for not Twitch.
All right. What else is in this room besides them and their statue?
There is a pathway that leads to the north as you would turn left and passing the shrine around, or passing the shrine room. There's nothing really of note in this room besides the statue and these gnolls that, as you start to take a little bit of time, look pretty hungry.
The gnolls look hungry?
Yeah, they are licking their lips and they kind of chatter their teeth and kind of make little chirping noises to each other, but they look like they're malnourished, I would say.
But they're not advancing on us.
Correct.
But they look like they want to eat us, I assume, since they're hungry.
In general. You can take their hunger for how you want to construe that. But it looks like... Well, give me an insight check.
Okay. My passive insight is 17, if that means anything. But I'm going to roll it right now.
Passive insight's good enough. That is a monster passive insight. You damn passives.
Goddamn right.
So, with that then, you get the notion that these gnolls have no intention to fight with you at this moment. They do look hungry, and the best that you can surmise is that you may think these gnolls are crouched before the altar. Perhaps, let's see. Oh, yes. One of them continues to glance down at the skull of a goat that is presented in front of the statue. And you see that the temptation is running over him to eat this skull, but it looks like it was placed in sort of a position as an offering, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
So that's why they look hungry and contemplating eating.
Okay, well, I will turn to the party and I'll say, guys, they're involved in a ritual at the moment. They're very hungry, but I don't think they're a threat to us. I think we should just slowly, calmly walk past them and keep going. If they end up becoming a problem, I'm sure we can handle them, but no need to kill them for no reason. They're not doing anything to us.
I would agree.
Suits me fine. Doesn't look like they'd put up much of a fight.
Alright, then I'll kind of start leading the way past them and to the other path you were talking about.
Okay. So, as you guys start to exit this room through the hallway, you see that the Null's eyes fixate on everyone as they pass by, but their demeanor does not change, and you are allowed passage out of this room. And as the last one exits, you hear the makeshift movement of those Nulls back into their positions around the statue.
Real quick, I was looking through my inventory, and I have no idea how old this would be, or if it would even still be a thing, but I had crag cat meat at one point.
Yeah.
Would I still have that, and would it still be okay?
I mean, Carcass would eat it.
All right. After everyone else goes by, I'm gonna take it out of my bag and toss it to him.
Okay. And how much cragcat meat are you throwing? And
Oh damn! I had 15 pounds of it is what I had written down. Jesus Christ.
Shit.
I will. How many of them are there? 4?
Yeah.
I'll throw 4 big chunks, like a pound a piece, give or take.
And they pounce on the cragcat meat, and they just start devouring it. And you hear these little chirps of cackling coming from them as they chomp down and retch their teeth into it and pull it into eviscerate these steaks that you have. And as one finishes, they kind of swipe at the other one if they'd finished a little bit slower. And it's a little bit of a standoffish, and you could tell that food is very scarce around here.
All right, well, that will be handy to have. And then I'll keep moving, I guess.
Okay. You return to the rest of the party, moving on. In the next room, you hear a bit of a commotion. You hear the sounds of battle. You see that there are 3 gnolls laying dead in the ground of this room, and then you see one larger gnoll that is down on one knee, and you see this armored man who's wearing a cape and wields a hand crossbow. At point blank range, fire his bolt directly into this larger, definitely not malnourished gnoll, and the gnoll then falls to the side and it's dead. And you see that there are a total of 3 men in this room as they look around and see one of them starts to grab a fishing pole that is on the side, laying up on the side of this room. What would you guys like to do? What are your initial reactions here?
Did he literally grab it, or is he still about to grab it?
It would be almost in his hands, not quite.
I don't know. Could I cast Mage Hand and lift it above his head and away from him?
That would be a dexterity check between your hand and the individual.
I'll go for it.
Okay.
$19.
19. So, as you start to see that he's going to grasp this fishing pole, the mage hand appears out of nowhere and grasps the pole immediately, raising it up to the roof, holding it sideways to keep the maximum distance and just out of reach of this individual. And he says, "Hey, what's the big idea? And he looks, and he looks to the 7 of you, and he says, "You guys are a bit late. This is our hall."
And just who might you good fellows be?
You can call me Jervis.
Your name's Germs?
Jervis with a V.
Like Tommy Jervis?
Sure.
Sorry, Friday 13th. Never mind. Don't worry about it.
So, Germs, you saying you killed all of the gnolls all the way on our way here, and all the ones inside this cave as well? That was all you and your trio?
Well, I can't say. I can't speak for the ones inside of the chasm, but we killed a few on the way here. But the ones once we arrived, they had no interest in fighting us. Except for this one. This is their leader, it seems. He didn't want to relinquish this without a fight. Now, we have earned this, and we are going to sell this to the highest bidder. And you see as he speaks, one of the other ones looks kind of cross at him and said, I'm glad you said that, because I didn't want to return it to that family anyway. I mean, what are they going to pay us? A few measly gold for this? And you see the third, the man with the red hair, kind of looks side to side, and he weighs in on this encounter.
I don't think that's going to be a good idea. We're definitely going to be returning that.
Armand, come on. 3 musketeers and all. 1 for us and all for me. I mean us.
I don't think that's how it's going to work with your older friend Armand the Hammer.
What are you going to do about it?
Well, I think these people right here look like they came for it, so I think they're going to go ahead and kill you now.
And the
Well,
two other
someone
ones,
said it.
they
And
look
he just
back.
raises an eyebrow.
Yeah, Eclipse looks concerned.
Or, of course, you could just hand it to your older friend Armand the Hammer.
Since Andy has heard the other part of this conversation, she's just gonna like casually hold up her warhammer and slap it into her other hand, like she's preparing to bash their heads in with it, to see if she can kind of intimidate them into doing what he wants.
Okay, go ahead and make an intimidation check, and if everyone also wants to strike a intimidating pose, you can certainly do so.
That's a 19.
I would love to.
One of the most useful things I never get to use.
Oh yeah. Silas will pull out the laser gun and hold it sideways.
Yeah, I got a 26, so Lek will just pull out his dick.
25 for Silas.
Andy! Oh, my God.
Oh, that was good.
Weird flex, but okay.
I'm dead. I'm
Wasn't
dead.
gonna waste a 26, man.
That's the clip of the night.
Like it looks like a fishing hook.
The way it's
That's
bent
what's
to the
so
right.
intimidating about it.
Is it shaped like a spider or what?
Whoa!
Stop, shut up.
Well, no, I cast a minor illusion on it to make it look like the head actually was like a skull shooting like flaming green flames out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. As you do.
Yeah.
I just assumed it looked like Andy's Warhammer.
It also has hands and is holding a warhammer, like a little one that's identical to Andy's.
Shut up. We're done.
That's it. No more.
You win, man. I'd walk away from that.
I'm about to leave. That's it.
It's just a small Adriana.
I'll be pissed for her.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I don't know why, but I'm just imagining like Kung Pao Enter the Fist vibes here, where Tongue comes out, and that's what Andy's doing right now with his dick.
Yup. Vega's too impressed to even try and be intimidating. He's just enthralled.
Jesus, with Silas pointing his laser pistol sideways and looking very gangster, and Lek just whopping out his Andy. These two individuals,
I dislike this.
they put their hands up and they say, all right, these people obviously mean business. If we can safely leave, we will gladly do so.
By all means.
And They slowly keep their hands up and where you can see them and start shimmying towards the door, slowly making their way out of the room.
They left the staff, right?
I have it.
It's in Andy's mage hand that he's holding up to the ceiling,
Okay.
out of reach of everybody. But the red-haired individual that spoke up against this endeavor remains behind.
Well, Armand, is that what you said your name was?
Oh yeah, hello, it's your older friend, Armand the Hammer.
Have we met before?
Okay, so it's your new friend, Armand the Hammer.
Oh my god. Now I feel left out because my name isn't a pun.
Is he a Mario ripoff?
Can I see Zizix? From where I'm standing?
Yeah, I would say so.
I will run up to him. Oh my god! You guys travel with the little baby? Help the baby, man. What's your name? My name is Armand a Hammer.
Zizix is just going, as he's like running towards him, he's gonna like kind of take off running away, trying to hide or behind somebody else.
Oh, somebody better get your baby.
He's actually he's a grown man.
Oh, but he looks like a cute little baby.
He is pretty adorable. I'll give you that. But yeah, he's an adult, just small.
Oh, okay. If you say so, I will believe you this time.
I appreciate that, I guess.
Who are all of you? Because, you know, I put a lot of work into this. I brought those people with me. And, I mean, I had to kill a lot of gnolls to get here.
I'd say all that work's about null and void at this point.
Oh, I think if I wanted that to hook, I probably could have still get it.
You know, that might be true.
For me by myself, perhaps.
Oh, no, you don't look like someone I would fight.
Good, I honestly'd rather not fight if I don't have to.
Oh, that's a good. The fighting kind of sucks.
It can. You obviously are against the plan of your two now absent compatriots. Was it your intention to return the hook to the family who lost it?
Oh, yeah, we made a deal. And you don't break the deals.
Well, that just so happens to have been our intention as well. Would you like to just come with us to deliver it back?
Oh, sure, you can accompany me.
Okay.
What's your name?
I am Vega.
Aha! That's a great name. My name is Armand Hammer.
I'm Andy.
Caught that.
Oh, Andy. That's a nice name too, Andy. Andy, you got the bigger warhammer, put it in the fist. My name is Armand the Hammer.
Nice to meet you.
I guess the rest of our party doesn't feel like
Oh my
introducing
god,
themselves.
I think the rest of your party just went mute.
No, I'm Silas. It's a pleasure to meet you, Armand Hammer.
Silas with the one horn. I like that. That's a very nice look on you. My name is Armand the Hammer.
A pleasure. Thank you for the compliment. It's traumatic, but thanks.
Oh, you shouldn't worry about it. That's a very nice look on you.
Thank you.
And
Have
forgive
the gold.
me. Oh, wow. Forgive me, but my name is Lek Sherlong. Pleasure to meet you.
Lekachar Long, the man with the hand, and other appendages, it seems. My name is Armand the Hammer.
Oh, it is a pleasure to meet you, Armand Hammer.
And my name is Eclipse. Pleasure to meet you.
Oh, Eclipse is that nice kitty cat's looking thing. I'm Armand Hammer. It's nice to meet you too.
Isn't she perfect?
She's gonna turn around and face the wall. Like her fists.
I'm going to start a jar.
I don't think all of his puns are good enough that he deserves a tip, but
No, I mean like a swear jar.
wait, you can get paid for swearing?
No, he
Oh
has
fuck yeah!
And who is the big metal person and the little baby?
Oh shit!
I'm
I would
done.
never get around to me, but tip my hat to him. Lysander Blackbird, at your service.
Oh, Lysander Blackburn. That's a very nice name, and that's a really nice hat. My name is Armand the Hammer.
Oh shit.
Pleasure to meet you.
Now, where did that baby go?
I'm not a baby.
Hello, little baby.
Holy fuck!
My
He's
name
got a
is
beard.
Armand Hammer. What is your name?
That's not important to you.
Okay, that's a really weird name, but not important to you. It is okay. Which one of you named the little baby that?
He's not a baby.
He's not a baby, and that's not his name.
Oh, well, what is his name?
I'm gonna kind of look at him with a look of like, just fucking tell him, man.
And Zizix is just gonna have like an eye twitch.
You know, I guarantee if you keep calling him little baby, he will eventually tell you.
I do love little tiny babies. They're so cute.
In fact, I might start calling him that myself. It is rather catchy.
Perhaps we should not do that to one of our own. We should really just try and respect their boundaries right now. But Armand, it is a pleasure to meet you and to bring you aboard.
Oh, I definitely appreciate that. What is it you all brought down here for? Because I know what I came for. That hook right there.
Yes, we came for the same, actually.
Oh, you guys came for my hook too?
The hook, yes.
Well, we should definitely take that back where it belongs.
I would agree.
Of course. Right, yes. Let's do that.
Is I'm not the one for the stealing.
Neither am I. Shall we return then?
Oh, I could follow you people.
Sounds good.
Before we leave, I'd like to look around and see if there's anything else of interest in this room.
Sure.
Some
Go
of us
ahead.
would like to do the same if that's all right.
Go ahead and make dueling investigation checks.
And while they're doing that, Zizix is going to command Pointy to always be watching Almond.
Absolutely.
I got 7.
I got a 15, so I matched my passive.
Very good. So as you guys take a look around this room, You see that painted in blood on the walls of this 8-foot-high cavern are pictographs of a towering monster with sharp teeth that wields what looks like a 3-headed flail. Pack of hyenas feed on the corpse in its wake, and a small fire crackles beneath by the south wall in this room, so it's kind of smoky in here. You see that there is a small green fish on the fire that is roasting. And then you see a blood-encrusted spear leaning up against the wall. That, with your investigation, you were able to identify just a shimmer of silver at the very tip. And between the both of you taking a look around between the rags and dirty cloth, moldy hides in this room, together you scrounge up 21 gold, 56 silver, and 117 copper pieces.
How do you want to split this? I can take it all if you don't mind.
Why don't you take the gold and I'll take the rest?
That works for me, and I'd like to keep this spear.
That's fine. How much silver and copper did you say?
56 silver, 117 copper.
Lek will cast Detect Magic on the spear.
Yeah, so when you detect magic, it's just an area, right? You don't direct it at any one thing.
Right, yeah, 30 feet, yeah.
But, no, it's non-magical.
Nothing else magical in the area, I'm assuming? Besides the fishhook, obviously.
The fishhook is the only thing that is not on the party that is striking as magical. Though you do notice that Silas's scarf has gotten a shade or two darker.
Interesting. Noted.
Gross.
I will lower the fishing pole with my mage hand into my own hand.
Okay. You're
And just
equipped
let
with the
it, let it
fishing
hang
pole.
out there.
As you do start to search around the room, you do hear a few grunts, and it sounds like some clattering on wood coming in from the hallway ahead, opposite of where you came.
Should we check that out?
Well, we did get what we came for, and all the carnage in this cave is making me concerned for what is truly lurking here, so if we can avoid it, I wouldn't mind.
It wouldn't hurt to put Arm and Hammer into action, so to speak, though. But really, I'm all for not spilling blood today, shockingly.
That's good to hear, Silas.
Way to go, buddy! Pats him on the back.
Yes, thank you. I think I've shown a lot of growth. You see the way I stood
Me
up for our friend?
I did. That was wonderful.
Didn't even say his name, and I was tempted to.
Well, good job. All right, why don't we just head back then?
All right. So, as you guys turn away from the clattering sounds of wood and very strong grunts coming in from that other side, you guys turn about and head back up the way you came. Armand, Hammer in tow, with the fishing rod and hook in hand.
I didn't give it back to him.
No, I know. I just meant in possession of the party.
Oh, right. Cool.
Touchy.
Lek,
Silas.
I know your a tendency to look for all things sparkly and special. When you were examining my scarf, did you find anything?
How perceptive of you to ask. Yes. I, as a matter of fact, did. I was going to ask you about that later, but here we are. Yes. There is some divination magic on it, and as a matter of fact, its color has changed since it's been around your neck.
Oh, fascinating. I'll cast Identify on it.
So this is a Scarf of Altitude. The interesting thing about this scarf is that the lower in altitude you are, the darker the scarf is. The higher up in altitude you are, the lighter blue the scarf becomes.
Fascinating.
It's an interesting little trinket.
Well, it's nice to know if I ever lose my eyes, I'll somehow be able to tell if I'm high or low.
Well, would you though?
Sometimes you can just sense color.
Okay.
You're feeling mighty green.
No.
Jealous.
I see what you did there. No, I'm not jealous at all, but you enjoy a little color-changing scarf.
I will. It can go with so many outfits.
You can mark this down as the Scarf of Living Color.
Will do.
So, spending some time in this room investigating and looting. After about 10-15 minutes, you guys start to make your way out and head back up into the chasm and shimmy across the walls back to the way you came. Only now you hear coming from upstairs a loud, ravenous scuffle going on as you hear the chittering of gnolls in a stronger force that you had noticed the last you came through these hallways.
I still have a bad feeling about this.
Well, it looks like we might be able to spill blood after all. Thank goodness.
Well, see what happens. Don't assume.
Sacrificial chalice half full.
Would you guys like to proceed upwards?
Upwards equals outwards.
May as well.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Then yes.
All right. So, as you guys start to head up those icy steps, you see what looks like an ongoing feast as these gnolls have started just eviscerating something, tearing flesh from bone, and just eating away at whatever it is that they're now feeding on. But from the 4 gnolls that were here earlier, you count 10 at this time partaking in this feast. You're not sure exactly where the other 6 came from. I would like everyone to make a perception check, and Armand, you can make one at advantage.
I got a 23 for Andy.
Lowest roll of the night with an 8.
19 for Vega.
Okay.
14 for Lek.
That's a 14 for Armand.
All right.
8 for Lysander.
Okay.
Nat 1 for Zizix.
Zizix is just avoiding all eye contact and keeping a fixation on Armand to make sure he's not doing anything sketchy. But everyone with a 14 or higher, you catch a glimpse of what's going on inside of this feasting circle, and you see that there are 2 humanoid figures that are just being torn limb from limb. And you see the eyes of one of the gnolls glance up and they start chittering to the group and they start looking back in your direction, and you see them start to bare their teeth. 4 gnolls break from the pack and stand between the group. They look back at Vega in particular, and they seem to be talking back to each other and calming the storm of feasting that's going on. And within a few seconds, the gnolls return their eyes from the party back to the feast at hand, which, Armand, you're able to identify that those 2 humanoid figures were the people that brought you here.
Oh, no germs.
Well, that's not good. I think these gnolls got the taste for people. We should probably leave now.
Yes, better them than us. I agree.
They were about to attack us, but they didn't. So let's get out of here before they change their minds.
Wise as ever. I concur.
Boy, am I glad I said those fucking things. Let's go.
So, with that, you guys are able to move through this room, just getting a little bit of blood just splurred on you from the ripping and tearing from flesh and bone, and making it back up and out through that hollowed out mound that you had entered in before, and you find yourselves in the dead of night inside of this wintry hellscape. What would you guys like to do, and where would you like to travel?
How far outside of East Haven are we?
You're about 3 hours travel. With the spell that Andy cast, 4 hours otherwise.
Well, I'm sure she doesn't have another casting of that left.
Nope.
Do we want to just travel 4 hours in the dead of night to get back, or do we want to set up camp and rest and go back in the morning?
I think setting up camp would be a bad idea considering what we just saw.
Also agree. Well, let's get back as quick as we can, I guess.
Okay. And this will be a good time to go ahead and take our break to roll a survival check for tracking.
I can do that.
All right.
Oh, nat 20. So
Look at that.
27.
Oh, yeah. And you're able to triangulate your location with landmarks just great. Perfectly. And you guys end up making your way back in good time, even though you don't have the assistance of Andy's spell at this rate. You guys still make good time for what it is. Zizix, I believe you're still keeping a close eye on Armand Hammer.
Oh, you better believe it.
Armand Hammer, do you
Fuck me.
prefer to lead from the travel towards the front of the pack, or bringing up the rear?
Oh, since I can pretty much see it any time of day or night, I like to be up at the front.
Okay. So up at the front of the pack with Vega is Armand Hammer leading the way, and I believe Lek is still the one in possession with the fishing rod. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. So, your travel goes unabated. No issues along the way, and along the horizon you see the torch-lit city of East Haven on the horizon. And returning into the city from the east, entering into the east side of the city. Where would you guys like to go?
Armand, I don't suppose you know you had an arrangement of where to meet the lady who this belongs to.
Well, I figured I'd just come back here to town and go back to where I met her at and hope that she's there.
And where did you meet her?
That's a good question. Where did you meet her?
We met her at the tavern by the name of Above Table. What was it called, Sam?
The tavern in Karakonig way back when?
Uh,
Because you didn't
Oh.
run into her in this town, or this
That's
tavern
right.
in town. But the
Mm.
bartender did say that she was there at the tavern earlier on this day.
yes, that was the one I was going to try and allude to, but I wasn't listening as carefully as I should have been.
No worries. And that would
So-
also be the location of where Armand Hammer met this woman today.
And is it still late at night at this point?
Yeah, so it's closer to like 2 in the morning at this point, so it's late.
Well, I highly doubt she'll be there. Is there an inn attached to this particular tavern we could stay at?
Yes, there is.
How about we get some rooms and we can seek her out in the morning?
Well, I like
That
the
sounds
sound
a
of
good
that.
idea.
Yeah, I got a little blood on me, so I do need to clean up.
Yeah, me too.
Then perhaps we should go get the rooms and get them cleaned up.
Andy kind of looks to everyone else to make sure everyone's chill with that plan.
Yep, that's fine.
Great, and she will head that way.
The mocking going on in chat right now, I can't handle it. So, you guys make your way towards the tavern and inquires, is there any availability for rooms tonight? And the bartender lets you know that there is. Rooms are going for 5 silver apiece. How many rooms would you like?
Well, how many rooms do they have?
He has 4 rooms available.
Then I think we'll probably take 4 rooms.
Yeah, that works. We can divvy them up.
And
Oh no,
20
your
silver.
new friend Armand the Hammer can pay.
For all of them?
Yeah, it's not the problem. It's just
That's-
money.
That's very kind of you.
And the barkeep is happy to take payment from Armand and directs you down the hallway to where your rooms are.
So there's only 4 rooms though, and there's a whole bunch of us.
Well, my usual bunkmate just returned home, so you're welcome to share with me and anyone else's too.
Oh, thank you. That's very, very nice of you.
Of course.
Eclipse, Lysander, you want to bunk with me, I guess?
Yes.
Sure.
All right. So from that, everyone returns into their rooms. Is there anything anyone would like to do before they head to bed this evening?
Vega will be reading, which I know is shocking.
Shocker.
Ziz is gonna make some more potions.
Okay.
Andy's just gonna clean up and tend to her things and get to bed. Although she
she's gonna
will
go to
probably
bed.
chat with Arm and Hammer after she showers, since they're bunking together.
All
Is
right.
that cool, or did you have something you wanted to...
Oh no, Armand the Hammer's always happy to talk to you.
So, where are you from?
Well, it's really cold here, and I'm from pretty close by. You know, I did my parents, so we had a pretty good little life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we weren't the rich or anything, but you know, I always had the place to sleep, and I had the food in my belly.
That's good. And so, what exactly is it you specialize in? I saw you guys had some pretty efficient knoll kills.
I kind of dabble into this and that. I mean, you know, I have my favorite, the rapier right here, and of course, I have my father's hand crossbow.
Oh, so all of those were you.
Oh, I wouldn't say all of them were with me. The other guys that helped out a little bit.
Did you fire that at close range, or is it just really strong?
Oh no, those are ones that were me. I can shoot you pretty much anywhere you are.
Can I look at it?
Sure, you can look at my crossbow. You want to look at my rapier too?
Sure.
All right.
I noticed the arrows in the crossbow were embedded really, really far into the skulls of the gnolls, and I've just never seen that with a crossbow at a distant range before.
Oh no, that's what happens when you shoot somebody right next to them.
Oh, okay. And she's gonna take a look at the weapons and just, do her cool shit examining.
Yeah, the crossbow, the hand crossbow, looks pretty intricate. It definitely is an heirloom. It's got a little bit of wear and tear on it, but it's got a lot of love in it, if that makes sense. It's been well taken care of.
This is beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much. My father, he liked it, and I kind of like it too.
Yeah, you seem to be pretty good with it.
Oh yeah, I like it to dabble into the crossbow. I like it the shooting.
I'm not too good at shooting myself. I'm best at axing things, or,
Oh yeah, you got to be careful. You
hitting them.
You should definitely never shoot it yourself.
No, for sure. So, now that you're not traveling with those guys, what are your plans?
Well, I'm open to suggestions. You seem like a nice person.
I try.
Do you have any suggestions for your older friend Armand the Hammer?
Well, if you're looking for a group to travel with, you might as well stick around. Our, smaller friend is a bit touchy, but he'll warm up.
Oh, yeah, he's just a little tiny one. He looks like a baby. With the hair.
Very small, but I assure you he's an adult.
Oh, I know he's not the really baby. I mean, Armand the Hammer is not the stupid.
Okay.
But he looks so cute like a little baby.
He might not enjoy being told that all the time.
Oh, he'll get used to Armand the Hammer. He and I we will become friends.
Good.
He looks like he's probably a nice guy too.
He is nice.
I try to be a pretty nice guy.
Well, I'd say you're doing a good job.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I don't often pay for everyone, except for all of the times where I still pay for everyone.
Well, you don't have to feel obligated to do that, but it was very nice.
Oh, no, I'm never obligated. I just, I don't really need the money. I don't really have any use for it. I don't need the great wealth in life.
I feel the same. I think great wealth is something that isn't money.
Oh, now see, now you are talking to my language. But also, I don't go in for all of these laws.
Laws.
Yeah, they lead to corruption.
Ah.
People should not follow that way. They should be nice and good to each other.
Without needing the laws.
That's right.
Yeah. Ideally, yeah.
But the most people, they can't do that.
Right. That's the problem.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems here. Mostly, it's very cold.
It is horribly cold.
It's bitter cold. I freeze myself out there.
Yeah, Oral apparently is to blame for this. And we've sort of looked into it. I think ultimately we're going to try and figure that mess out so we might somehow end this.
Ah, Oral. Yes, okay. I understand it now. I don't know who that is, but I understand what you say.
I'm sure the others will be glad to pitch in and we'll fill you in on everything.
Are any of them nice people too?
All of them in their own way. Everyone's very different. We have different strengths and different personalities, but we've managed so far.
Oh, yeah, I'm not good in that category with the strengths. I'm not a very strong person.
Well, everyone's strong somehow. You're strong with a crossbow.
Oh, that does not take the strength, though. That takes the skill.
Well, that's perhaps a better way to put it then. We all have different skills.
Oh, that's a good. What the skill do you have?
Well, I'm pretty good at hitting things with my hammer, and when I'm not doing that, I tend to heal people. I'm a cleric.
Oh, I like the people that they heal people. You guys are very nice.
Do my best.
Yeah, I could use some of that sometimes.
Well, you have it.
Well, that's a really good. I'm ready for that. I didn't have that one before.
I'm sure you'll like the others as you get to know them. Sometimes personalities clash, but I think that happens in every adventuring group.
Oh, that's okay. I'm always ready to encourage all of my friends.
Good. We could use someone like you, I think.
Oh, that's good. Because, I don't keep secrets from you now.
Excellent. We could use that, too.
Oh, did they keep secrets from you?
Well, we had a couple of incidents, but I think now we're on the path to everyone being honest.
Oh, that's good. I like the honesty. It's a very important.
I agree.
Did you get all that blood off of you?
Not yet, but I will probably go take care of that now before I turn in.
Yeah, I'm still working on that myself, and I'm gonna go to bed if you don't mind.
Yeah. Well, good night.
All right, you have a very good night too, and I will see you in the morning.
Okay. And Andy will head to the washroom and work on the blood.
All right. Anybody else with any conversations that wish to be had at this time? Right.
I would like to attempt to meditate and commune with Larlock.
Okay. As you fall back into your trance, how do you reach out?
My lord, this is a bit of a sensitive, time-sensitive matter, but I do have a plan to attempt to acquire the book, but I wanted to see if you wanted it or not before I went through with it. I await your summons.
Which book do you speak?
The one on this pole, and that the family heirloom that we recovered from the gnolls. I know it has magic. I don't know if it is of the sort you desire or not.
This hook seems not important.
Very good. That does make things a little less complicated for me, truth be told, so... very well. Do you have any further instructions for me?
I have detected in the north a strong magical presence that shot itself into view. I would, infer this could be this avarice that you have encountered.
I see. In the north, you say. We are headed that way, so that's very convenient.
Yes, it was but a flash and it was gone, so whatever deed may have been struck may be done with, but I sense there is still power in this region. It's not been diffused.
Very good. I shall investigate.
Yes, you've done well so far, Lek. In
And I
time,
intend...
you will have the time you need.
Thank you, my lord. Nothing brings me greater joy than such words. I'll continue on then.
And with that, you awaken from your trance and look around the dark room and seeing that your bunkmates have already crawled into bed and are passing the time resting away.
Then I will go ahead and go to sleep.
All right. And as everyone gets a long rest in, you guys all reconvene in the tavern in the morning. And the barkeep at the moment asks if anyone is interested in breakfast or if they would prefer to eat their own personal rations.
Breakfast sounds great.
Okay, 2 silver a plate.
Andy will go ahead and just get everyone breakfast.
Why, thank you, Adrian.
Of course.
Is that a sign that I've been giving you guys too much money?
No, I haven't really gained any in a while, so that's definitely not
Yeah,
the case.
me neither.
I would like Lek would actually go to Armand and say, "Here, it should be you who gives her back the fishing pole, since you did make the agreement with her, and I will give him the pole and hook."
Oh, thank you very much. That's very nice of you.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the right thing to do, so you're welcome.
Well, I did do a lot of work to get this.
Yes, that you did. That you did. Now, will you be staying on with us then?
Well, your friend Andy there, she said that I could tag along with you if I want, and I don't really have anything else going on.
Fantastic. We always manage to find something to do, so I'm sure you'll keep plenty busy with us.
Well, I hope not too busy. You know, everybody enjoys a little downtime.
Oh, to be sure. And just what do you like to do with your downtime, Armand, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, that's a really good question. Thank you very much for asking that.
Sure.
So, I like it to clean.
No kidding.
Yes, you see how sparkle shiny I am this morning? That does not happen by accident.
I see. Well, I tell you, it is refreshing to have someone in the group who cares so much about cleanliness. That's
Oh, hygiene is very important and very underrated.
And might I say, if you ever need me to clean anything for you instantly, I can do so at the snap of a finger. Be happy to do it for you.
But that
Give it any sense you want.
That takes all the fun out of it.
Of course. Well, if you want me to give something a scent, then I can do that too.
Oh, well, if I ever needed to have a certain smell, I will look you up.
Perfect.
Otherwise, I'll have to find a new hobby.
Well, I wouldn't want to rob you of your joy. So not to worry. I'll continue just cleaning my own things as you clean yours, and I'm sure we'll find other ways we can connect with each other.
Oh, I'm very sure about that, my new friend.
Excellent.
And in short order, you guys are served all of your breakfasts. And if you ordered a plate, subtract 2 silver from your coin purse. And as you guys are wrapping up eating, a woman comes in and she makes eye contact with Armand and says, "Oh, you're back."
That's right, your older friend Armand the Hammer. He's back.
Yes, indeed. Were you able to find it? My son's birthday is just the next day, and since we lost his grandfather, he would love to have his fishing tackle.
Oh, of course I found it. It's right here, and I will hold up the things for her.
Oh, I can't express to you how much this means to us.
Oh, sure. Anytime you have a lost of things like this, or you need Armand the Hammer to find anything for you, you just find me.
Well, thank you so much, Armand. I can't tell you how much Cornelius is going to enjoy this.
Well, you tell Cornelius, happy birthday, little baby, from Armand the Hammer.
I will do just that. Thank you so much.
Sure. And I will put the rod and the little hook right on the table.
And she grabs it and bows in thankfulness and starts to head on out.
What? Have a very good day.
You too.
And I will go back and sit with my new friends.
Armand, was there not a reward discussed for that?
Why would the Armand the Hammer take a reward for finding something for someone?
Because one was offered?
Just because people offer you the money for the things like that doesn't mean you shouldn't be a really good person and do it for them.
Andy smiles.
Oh boy.
If you say so, man.
We don't always have to do everything for the money.
He's right.
That's right.
I agree with that.
Yeah, sometimes you just do things and they make people happy.
He's going to be such a good influence on Silas.
Right. Well, good. Lek just looked down at his plate and ate his breakfast.
Andy pats Lek on the shoulder.
Everyone's thinking, oh no, we just became a charity.
Oh no!
Yes!
So, what's the plan now, guys?
That was gonna be my next question.
Perhaps catching up Armand on the situation at hand.
Yes, Armand does need to be brushed up on what we've been doing and oral specifically.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that last night.
Yes, I was telling him that Oral is the cause of this never-ending winter, and that ultimately we're going to be looking into that. I thought we could enlighten him as to what we've learned so far. And she kind of looks over at Lek, and everybody just kind of waits for people to chime in.
So you would like to know more about Oral or our current plan of action?
Well, ideally, I'd like to know about the both. Almost like I was not even here all of these months.
Oh, what funny, man. Ah, yes. Well, our plan was to head to Bryn Shander next. There were a few things there. We were going to investigate a black cabin, and we recently dealt with a job for the town speaker there. We were going to report our findings on that and some other matters in town that also require our attention. So yeah, there's several little things. And from there, we were maybe going to go to Tourmaline. And north seems to be the general direction to head, not just for our own business, but for all things oral as well. Did I gather... I can't remember if I was in the room for whatever conversation occurred, but did he say in my earshot that he knows nothing about oral?
I think you would surmise that with what Andy has said.
Oh, good. Would someone else like to take the oral angle of this particular conversation? I mean, like tell him about it, not just use your mouth because oral. But anyways.
The point of your nose gets really cold.
Andy kind of looks at Lysander because he was on the warpath about Oral.
What do you know about deities, Armand?
Well, your older friend Armand the Hammer, he knows that that they are there, and some people they like it to pray to them, and that they do things for you. Sometimes, not always. That's about it.
Oral demands sacrifices. She demands different things from different communities. There is one town that has a lottery where they sacrifice people to her in the cold in such a very barbaric and dreadful manner, where if your name gets picked, you are the next sacrifice. And we are hoping to stop that.
Oh, that sounds like definitely something someone should have stopped. Because that's not the lottery that Armand the Hammer wants to win.
Agreed. That'd be a very grim fate. Thing is, deities get their power from the attention and prayers and followers that they get. So we need to direct people's attention elsewhere, or possibly bring another deity to the scene to fight. We're still working on those angles.
Well, I want to direct my attention to this. I can bet you on that.
Good man.
So what else is going on?
Well, I think that brings us to Lek's plan.
Right. On to Bryn Shander to report our findings on the Mind Flayer situation. And thankfully, that will be a very positive one, as there was no real true threat there. We may have lost a friend, but at least we know there's not an imminent takeover of people's minds about to occur and brain eating, so That's a relief. Yes, and then we'd heard talk of a certain structure near Bryn Shander that might have certain interest. At least people suspect it's haunted or surrounded by intrigue. A place called the Black Cabin, and there's a contact in Bryn Shander we want to talk to find out more about that. Could be worth investigating. And then the crystals, the mind flayers who actually live from a different world, used to power the ship. They can be found in Termalaine, so it might be worth seeing if we can find more of these. Well, that's kind of our current track. If you're game to head to Bryn Shander with us, that's the plan.
Well, I could definitely go to Bryn Shander with you. That seems like an awful lot of things for you guys to be taking on.
Yes, like I said earlier today, we certainly do tend to keep busy these days.
That's not even everything. There's also the Dirigar in the long game.
Yes, indeed. Didn't want to overwhelm our new friend, but yes.
What the heck kind of people are you? That's a lot of things to do.
We're ambitious.
I see that.
Ambitious adventurers, if you will.
Well, I can't say that I'm super ambitious, but I'm willing to go along for the ride.
Well, we're glad to have you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Very good. Then, I mean, if no one's opposed, I'm ready to head out once we've finished breakfast.
Yeah, that sounds fine with me.
Absolutely.
All right. And so, as you are finishing up your breakfast, you see that patrons start to file in and get their food as well, and well, you overhear some talking at the bar. Let's see, I think Zizix would be the one to overhear this one. So, as people are filing in and conversations are occurring throughout the tavern, this one just sticks out to you, and this person reads, or says, "If you're looking for something hidden in Icewind Dale, the people you should talk to are the Ragged Nomads. They know every inch of this land and all of its secrets. The tricky part is finding them, and they tend to follow the reindeer herds." Just a little bit of information for you.
Sorry, so they're called rugged what?
The barbarian tribes that follow those deer. They're
Gotcha.
called Ragged Barbarians. Reghed.
Gotcha. And they were, if we're just looking for something, they would be the ones to know. Okay, gotcha.
That's useful knowledge.
It is.
Let's see.
Zilix will approach those people
Okay.
and say, excuse me, did you say ragged barbarians?
Oh, yes, I did.
Do you happen to know where they're at?
Oh, they follow those herds around, and they're all over the Icewind Dale region.
And what kind of things can they help you find?
Well, I mean, if there was anything that, had been lost in this monstrous wasteland of ice, since they traverse that area so much, surely they'd be the ones to come across it. I heard once that, there was a Goliath clan that had needed help finding a holy relic of theirs, and they they conversed with these barbarians, and supposedly they had led them right to it because they had seen it passing by. It just took a little bit of influence and some bartering.
I see. And what kind of things would one barter with them with?
Well, they're very simple people, you know, and I mean, if you had a lot of leathers or maybe influx in armor or weapons, I'm sure they'd be open for conversation.
I see. Well,
And
thanks for the information.
I also hear that it really depends on what type of barbarians there are. There's the bear tribe, there's the lion tribe, the deer tribe. It kind of fluctuates from person to person or group to group, I hear.
Well, thank you for the information.
Oh, anytime. And there's also another drop of information incoming that Vega, you would be hearing, is this person is very much 3 sheets to the wind already so early in the morning. He was here as you guys woke up. And you see him, he's got this very thin metal hat on, and he says, I keep telling everyone that the everlasting Rime isn't the Frost Maiden's doing. It's actually the Arcane Brotherhood. They're plotting to take over the 10 towns, and the wizard that was burned at the stake admitted to being one of them, and he said there are other Brotherhood wizards lurking among us. Valish Grant, he's behind it, no doubt. The scoundrel is locked away in Revel's End, but that doesn't make him any less dangerous. Someone should really find out what he knows. Did that come through, or did that get blotted up from Discord?
No, I heard it.
Okay.
Only Vega heard that, right?
Yeah.
Huh. Well.
So if you just want to take note of that, that's fine. If you don't want to have a conversation with them, you don't have to. But that's just stuff that you overhear in taverns.
Who did he say?
The name he said was Valish Gant. Vaelish, and then Gant, Gant. He's locked away in Revel's End.
Locked away in where?
Revel's End, REVEL''S End, END.
Okay. I can remember the rest enough to write it down if you want to move on.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to talk to him at the moment, I don't think. But that is interesting.
So, with that, Zizix, I assume you return back to the group?
Yeah.
Okay. Like you see, everyone's wrapped up their breakfast, and you see Zizix is returning from conversing with some people at the bar.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I will get up and say, well, everybody, we are ready to hit the snowy trail, as it were.
Indeed.
All right. Well, I think we should go ahead and set off unless someone needed to do something before we go.
Anybody need anything before they leave town?
No?
Nope.
All right. You guys set off outside of East Haven. And you travel through town, heading out through the exit, making your way out to the snowy trail ahead. You guys have traveled this trail very often. It's no mystery what direction you need to go, so no survival checks will be needed at this time. And after you burn the daylight at hand, as the sun starts to set, you make your entrance into Bryn Shander. Where would you guys like to go?
I think a couple of people need to return their library books, right?
That is correct. Myself and Vega. Oh, and I was supposed to report about my status regarding the Red Slod. Adriana, has there been any sufficient change that you can see in that particular development since your last viewing?
Sorry, any change in what now?
You know, like we were waiting to see if it was going to get, red and puffy around the area of the.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Let me examine him.
Okay, go ahead and make a medicine check.
That's a dirty 20.
Take a look around where Lek had led you, like where he told you the incision or the insertion had been made. You don't detect any change. It doesn't seem to be infected. It's hard to really say that there's anything wrong with it.
Okay. It looks okay to me.
Okay. I mean, I don't mind foregoing with telling the officials of my case if you think it's all right.
Yeah, I'd say you look okay.
Great. Then, yes. Obviously, we need to go to the library, but I think our priority is probably to talk to the town speaker about what we found regarding the mind flayers and let them know there's nothing to worry about.
I'm sure they would appreciate the good news.
All right. So, if you guys are heading towards the town hall, you guys know where that is, and you make your way through town. Looks like town's a little bit perked up from the last time that you were here. Seems like the returning of mead to the trade routes have perked everyone's spirits just a bit. So there's a little bit of glimmer of hope in this dreadful, icy hellscape. So you make your way into the town hall, and you see Markham and the town speaker standing next to her, or next to him. And Markham looks up and greets you all and says, well, welcome back. Glad to see you back. And notices Armin Hammer. Says, I see you have a new member. Who might you be?
Hello, I'm your new friend. I'm on the Hammer.
That remains to be seen, but it's nice company you keep there, friend.
Yeah, I like them so far.
I like them too. They've proven to be very helpful in this dire time.
Oh, that's a really good.
Indeed. And where are you from, Armand?
Oh, I'm from a nearby, but not quite in the cold. But you know, I got kind of stuck here, so here I am.
Your tale is not one that I haven't heard in the last few years. But hopefully, the group that you're with can help us traverse these matters.
Well, that sounds really nice.
And the woman standing next to him steps up and says, "And I am Duvessa Shane, town speaker of Bryn Shander. It's nice to meet you, Armand, and welcome back to the rest of you."
Oh, thank you very much, Duvessa. I'm Armand the Hammer.
Yes, yes. Nice to meet you, Armand. What news have you brought about the Mind Flayer predicament?
There is none.
I fear the worst for Carcass, your Minotaur friend. He did not survive the encounter?
No, he did. The ship, there was a ship, there was a mind flayer, but I don't think it was the type that we have encountered in the past. In fact, if you can believe it, the thing was friendly. It left, and it brought Carcass back to his home world.
His home world?
He's from very far away.
I see. That's, all right. And
that was my reaction, too.
Yes. Well, I'm glad he made it home, nevertheless, wherever home may be.
Yes.
But we have some news for you as well.
Oh?
Yes, we were approached by one Velen Harpel, who claims to have knowledge on the Duergar stronghold.
Interesting.
She said she was acquainted with you, Andy.
Yes. I do know her. Where is she, at the tavern?
No, she left in a bit of a rush, but she was able to draw up on this map where you can find the Duergar hideout. She said that her kobolds had captured one of their Duergar, and was able to extract this information out from them, speaking with the recently deceased.
Interesting.
I thought you would be the first to want to know, but
Yes.
She said the Duergar had planned on launching their assault on the 10 towns soon. There was ambiguity in his answers and could not give any more pointed definition to what time frame we are looking at. But it could be anywhere from today to a 10-day, even longer. Soon is relative to a Duergar, as they live longer than about the same as dwarves and elves, so knows exactly, but it's imminent.
Yes, we should handle it quickly then. Thank you.
Yes, and she hands over the map and hands it over to Andy, rather.
Andy will take it and kind of look to the others.
This is very helpful. Thank you.
Yes, well, inevitably it'd be you helping us, so thank you.
I'm gonna kind of look at the rest of the party and say, I think this means that the Duergar just got bumped up our priority list a bit, doesn't it?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes, I suspect Terminator will need to wait.
Please, this is word of a dead man, so if you feel that you need a little bit more time to prepare, I would rather that this be done correctly than thrown against the wall and hoping it sticks. And you understand what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
So far, we have no reason to believe that they are indeed in possession of a super weapon or an army of golems. No offense, Lysander. But just whenever you're ready. I'm in no way trying to rush you. Like I said, imminent is relative to the Duergar.
Well, thank you for that.
And Markham returns to his chair, and he asks, "What other news can you bring to us of the frontier? Or is Mind Flayer the only thing that has been ailing the outer towns that haven't arrived to these town speaker meetings to fill us in? How is Leader Caradinaval? Is he getting better?"
Well, apparently, he was never sick.
What do you mean?
I mean, they were taken over by some cultists, and we found out that the cultists were not the proprietors of the building. They were holding them captive, including the town speaker, who is now free and back in control of the castle.
And Markham says, these town meetings were a lot less of a headache with him gone, but I suppose that theatrical son of a bitch should be back. I'm glad he's healthy, though, nonetheless.
He was a bit theatrical, wasn't he?
Oh, he's so theatrical. I'm not a man of many words, but that man will take words to spite himself. Well, good to see all is returned to order, and hopefully that means that relations between them and East Haven will take a better stand.
One can hope.
Well, we'll leave you guys to it then. If we've given you everything that we've learned recently, and I hope you're successful in your endeavors.
Thank you.
Same to you.
Much obliged.
And so Markham and Duvessa, they bring their attention back to their table. It looks like they're filling out ledgers, doing clerical work for the 10 towns.
Right. Well, there are a few different matters to take care of here. Besides the library, at one point there was this person we wanted to see about the amulet. His name's Artemis. I just had the name written down on my parchment here, but I cannot remember the significance. But apparently they are the expert in this. Yes.
Right. That would be good to get this checked out, yeah.
Oh,
And then
Markham speaks up. Artemis left on some sort of personal vision. He,
Don't. Sorry, never mind.
Yeah, that he's a strange individual, and he felt his calling was taking him elsewhere, so, he left recently, but what amulet do you speak of?
Well,
Yes, I'm gonna pull it out and show him the symbol of Levistus. This one in particular.
it belonged to one of the cultists who had taken over the care.
Ah, I see. Let me see that. As he reaches out to kind of inspect it by hand.
I wouldn't touch it necessarily.
Oh, I see. Well, I can call the second cleric in command to take a look at it if you have some time to stick around or leave it on the table and wait.
I think we have enough time for that.
I would prefer to hang on to it.
Understood. I wouldn't want to think of what would happen if I were to touch it or if anyone else were. I'm glad you're taking the course of protectorship over it.
Of course.
And he hails for one of the guards and he says, fetch me Derek.
Derek the cleric.
Lovely.
Yep, you're welcome. And the guard snaps to attention and heads out to fetch Derek the cleric. About 20-30 minutes pass. You guys want to talk amongst yourselves before or anything, or you good to continue on?
I mean, I don't know that all of us need to wait here for Derek the cleric. If a couple of us wanted to go return the books library, perhaps find out about this copper, the gnome, to get information about the black cabin, we could divide and conquer. But you don't have to do that if you'd rather just hang out together. That's fine too.
I'm absolutely fine with going to the library if everyone's okay with us departing.
That sounds fine to me.
Yeah, I can wait here for Derek the cleric.
Glad you guys enjoy that name.
Splendid.
Very good. Then Vega and I will go to the library. Anyone else care to join us?
Sure, I'll come.
Zizix will stay with Lasanda.
Eclipse will stay too.
Eclipse, I'm shocked.
Leave.
Right, that was the plan.
All right.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to go to the library with them.
Wonderful. Excellent. Don't worry, Eclipse. There'll be other chances.
Her eye is just gonna twitch.
Right. So, you guys make your way towards the library as everyone else hangs around. You see that the lights are on inside the library and door is open.
The door is open.
Door is open.
I'm gonna poke my head in. Hello, it's your old friend Armand the Hammer.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
And you hear a voice calling from inside. Hello?
Hello.
Can I help you? I don't think I've met you before.
Oh, it's your old friend Armand the Hammer.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, it's nice to meet you too. I'm with my new friends.
Oh, I see. Well, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. Had some books to return, I suppose.
Oh, yes, of course. Let's see. Which books do you have there?
I think it was
bunch of Mind Flayer books. I probably still have the titles written down. Let me check.
Oh yes, Mind Flayers. What's in them?
Mind Flayers, what's in them? Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, that's the one I loaned to Lek. But I also have Mind Flayer and Me. And then 2 that I was not given a name for.
Okay. Ah, yes. Thank you. Did they prove useful?
Mine did to some extent. How about you, Lek?
I mean, I did get some use out of it, if that's what you're asking.
Good. Glad to hear it.
All right. Are there any books that you're looking for at the moment that I can assist you?
Yeah. Do you have anything on Diragar?
Diragar. Yes, I believe there is something here. Fiction or non-fiction? Smut?
No smut for me. At the moment. Fiction or non-fiction. Either one could be useful.
Well, might I point you in the direction of the Dark Reign of the Duragar? Over here, non-fiction speaks of the Duragian Empire down in the Underdark, though details are a bit hard to come by on certain situations, but it speaks to their love of darkness and how things, how they expanded like dwarves in mountainsides, and they have an affinity for the dark. Let me just say that.
Understood. All right, and I will take that book from her and hold on to it. What else can you recommend?
Yes, let me see here. Yes. The Duragar Drow Accord. This is a very dry read. Details the relationships between the Drow and the Duragar and their dealings in the Underdark. That might be of interest to you.
Can you repeat the title?
The Duragar and Drow Accord.
Just so you know, I think I'd be interested in some Duragar smut.
Yes, of course. You might want to take the Iron Fist.
Andy, pointedly wanders over to another section to, pretend to browse.
Yeah, once I hear they're going through the smut, I'm gonna go with Andy.
And,
Andy kind of jock nods at at Armand.
And she says, the Iron Fist is impeccable, from what I understand. Let's see here. We also have the impromptu enlargement, if that will entice you.
I suppose it depends on what the meaning of Iron Fist is.
Well, you have to read to find out, I suppose.
I do enjoy mystery, although I am a one book at a time sweet Jesus type guy. You know what? Fuck it, I'll take both of them.
All right. Enjoy.
And what was the name of the first book you told me?
That was the Dark Reign of the Dark Reign of the Durgar, I believe.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Andy and Armand, as you're kind of looking around, you see a book that's titled Tiamat's Guide to Making Friends and Influencing People. Turns out that the real friends are the Tiamats you made along the way.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right. Anything else you guys would like to accomplish inside of the library?
I'll turn to the librarian. This is a shot in the dark, but if it can save me some time, then I'll go for it. You wouldn't happen to know anybody named Copper, a gnome, would you, perchance?
Oh, yeah, I know Copper.
Fantastic. Where can I find Copper?
Copper! And you see up in the high shelves of this library, a gnome pops down, and he says, "Yeah, I've been summoned."
Yes, Copper, I had some questions for you about the Black Cabin.
Oh, yeah? What do you know about it?
Not that much, besides that it could be haunted, it's shrouded in mystery.
Oh, yeah.
I heard somewhere that you were the person to talk to if one was interested in investigating said cabin. So, do you have anything you could tell us before we check it out, or where we might find it?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you want a little bit of information about the Black Cabin, huh? All right, well, let me tell you this then. This place is not to be taken lightly. I'm pretty sure it is haunted, but you already knew that. Let me just say, let's see. You can find this cabin on the other side of Kelvin's Cairn, or Cairn from Caer Konig. But if you wanted to travel through Lonely Wood, that's a decent way to get there.
Excellent. Thank you.
Indeed.
Well, that's about it, unless any of you had any other additional questions to ask our new friend Copper here.
I don't.
Well, let me just tell you, it's pretty remote, so be sure to bring all the food you can, and don't starve. Bring some warmth. Don't freeze.
Very good. Thank you for the advice. We will bear it in mind.
Yeah, look out for bears.
Yes, that too. And at that, Lek will very slowly turn around and start walking away.
All right. And in the meantime, back at the town hall, in walks a cleric with very long hair and a very minimalist walking staff. He enters the room with the guard and he says, "Hey man, I thought I was summoned here. Is this where I'm supposed to be?"
Real quick, Sam, sorry.
Yeah.
While we were waiting for him, I wanted to see if I might be able to communicate with Levistus while we waited.
Oh, okay. What would you try to say to Levistus?
Well, I would hold the amulet out of sight from everybody else and try to go into a meditation-like state and try to communicate telepathically the way he did to me before. Say, Levistus, are you listening? I want to talk to you about something.
And go ahead and make a stealth check.
That's a 26.
Yeah, okay. With that, you're able to shield the amulet from bringing attention from anybody else when it starts to glow as you hear, what is it, murderer?
I think we may have gotten off on the wrong foot.
And what foot would that be?
Well, I've had some time to do a bit of thinking, and you're a powerful deity, and Oral is a powerful deity, and frankly, Oral is a bit of a thorn in my side. I also happen to know that you were imprisoned by Asmodeus. Am I correct?
Yes.
What if we came to an arrangement?
I'm listening.
You tell me how to get you out of there. You tell me, and you help me take down Oral and Asmodeus. Enemy of my enemy is my friend, if you will.
I see. You can tell that you were a mortal. Thinking that you have anything in the ways of demons and deities to bargain with is laughable. I'll tell you this. If I knew how to get myself released, I would be released by now. If you were to somehow come to an agreement with Asmodeus to release me from my prison, then we might have something to talk about.
Well, thought you might be a little more agreeable.
If you can perform this task, then yes, we will talk. But there is no modicum of information that I have that can come to my own release. Or else I would have it by now. I would have had my army stepped out on Asmodeus' door. But no, I am here, locked in this frozen hellscape, quite literally, with no army anymore, thanks to the likes of you.
Very good, anyways.
Yeah, well, I hate to break it to you, friend, but you didn't have much of an army to begin with.
How dare you speak of my beloved that way?
Well, I just did.
I may not have an army, but I have a sorceress, and that sorceress will come for you, as you've slighted my following.
I'm in Bryn Shander. Tell her to come visit me.
We will meet on our own time, not to be dictated by you.
Well, you know where I'm at, friend. Adios.
And with that, you awaken from the trance.
And everyone at the bar is
As Derek the cleric enters, he's like, so I was told I needed to be summoned here, man? Yes, Derek, we have an amulet that needs a little bit of inquiry. Oh, all right. Let me know where it's at. Who's got the amulet? Button, who's got the button, man?
God damn it.
I am going to present the amulet and warn him not to touch it.
Oh, don't worry, man. I'm all prepared for this. And he reaches out and grabs the amulet. He says, wow, this is some pretty metal stuff, man. No offense.
None taken.
Yeah, so what exactly you want me to do with this?
What can you tell me about it?
Well, it's a pretty sick amulet, man, but it's drenched in evil.
I could have told you that.
Well, I mean, then, what do you want to know about it?
I understand that you can get a direct link to Levistus, who is currently being imprisoned in one of the 9 gates of hell by Asmodeus.
Oh, well.
I'm wondering if you might be able to help us pinpoint a location or maybe a way to get there.
Oh, you want to go to hell, man?
I don't want to.
Well, I can
No.
tell you that. He's in hell.
Right, I just said that.
You're pretty knowledgeable, man. I mean, you know, I can take a look at this, and if you want me to dismantle it or uncurse it, because this thing's cursed, I can definitely do that for you.
You can remove the curse from this amulet.
Oh, yeah, dude, totally.
I'm gonna turn to Zizix and ask him, what say you?
Well, the sooner we get that curse off of that, the better.
Derek, I want to know, aside from just straight dying, a way to get to hell, a way to pinpoint how they are connecting, how Levistus is connecting to an amulet such as this. How is he doing it, and is there a way to trace the connection, if you will?
So you want to put you want to be able to trace this connection and pinpoint exactly where in hell he is and try to communicate with him? Or are you trying, if you want to go there, okay, well, I highly don't recommend doing this, alright? But the only way to get to hell is to make a deal with the devil, and not the devil. Like, you don't have to talk to Asmodeus, but if you happen to find a devil, dude, you can make a deal with them, and they can take you there to Avernicus.
Who?
Sorry. Avernus. That's like, you know, hell itself. That's the name that they have for it.
I see. I've had enough dealings with devils, but thanks for the tip. I guess I'm gonna turn to Markham. If this was the best you could do, thank you. Turn back to Derek. Thank you. In terms of the party, we will be joining our friends at the library. Good day.
Wow. You guys got a mad vibe. Well, your name, Zizix? Did you want me to remove this curse, or did you guys want to keep it how it is?
I'd like it removed.
I can take care of that. If you want to leave it with me, I can have this all cleaned up by the morning.
Fine with me.
All right.
I don't want to touch it.
Oh, dude, I would not recommend that. You would be totally evil if you were to touch it.
What would happen if someone who was already evil would touch that?
Oh, they just, like, enjoy it more, I guess. I mean, They don't turn more evil.
Well, I guess evil is evil.
Yeah, man, it's definitely a black and white sort of situation here. There's no shades of gray.
Well, you do what you can.
I will. Sorry. I will, little man.
And with that, I turn around and walk away.
All right, dude. See you later. You can pick this up in the morning if you still want it, because it's pretty sick. Not gonna lie.
I mean, once it's not cursed, what good is it?
Oh, well, it's totally cool if you want to, like, hang it on a wall or something as, like, a decoration. If you keep, like, trophies of, like, vanquished foes, that'd be totally cool.
Well,
if you wanted to use it to, like, put some more magic stuff in it that's not cursed magic, that'd be cool.
That's a good idea. I'll be back in the morning.
All right, I'll see you then, dude.
And Zeus just walks out.
All right, that leaves Eclipse. You leaving with Lysander and Zizix?
Yes, I cannot stand this guy.
What's wrong with Derek?
What isn't wrong with Derek?
He comes from a long line of Dereks.
It's true. What number of Derek is he?
Sam, go to your room.
He didn't know.
He's the third Derek, man.
Oh, that's not very long.
Well, you know, it depends on your perception.
That's what she said.
Speaking as
Really
a third,
not that long.
that's not a very long line.
Oh, you know, I mean, if you want to take it into, you know, if you skip a generation, we can definitely find some more Dereks, but, I mean, 3 in succession? That's pretty cool. Yeah, my dad, he ran Hundlestone down south of here. And then he came up and started to shop thanks to some nameless individual who just gave him a bunch of money for no reason.
Oh, God.
Anyway, you guys leave the town speaker and you go to reconvene with everyone else, I assume?
Yeah.
All right. Not long after departing both the library and the town hall, you guys run into each other. What would you guys like to do?
Well, I was fortunate enough to run into Copper in the library, and he told me the best way to get to the black cabin, although he did say that to tread carefully. So he recommended going through Lonely Wood and then around to Kelvin's Care. So unless you feel there's something else we should do while we're up north, that's not too terribly far from here. So I say it's worth a look-see if you guys are game.
Fine to me.
Let's do it.
Great. Above table, about what time of day we looking at right now?
Right now you're looking at about 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
Well, I mean, I don't feel the need to linger unless someone has some business to take care of in town before we head off.
I've got all I need.
Yeah, I've got everything done that we can do until tomorrow morning, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh, go to bed at 2:30 in the afternoon. It's awfully early. You do like your cat naps, don't you? Eclipse.
I will steal all of your left shoes if you don't shut up.
Right. So are we going to stay the night before we set off in the morning, or are we just going to get to it? That's really my question here, unless I was being unclear.
Let's just go.
That's what I say too. Great! Onward to Lonely Wood.
And you guys head out the west gate to Bryn Shander and start your trek Lonely Wood. And this will be where we will end off for the night. I did not expect you guys to go this direction so soon. So, in any case, great session, everybody. Hope you guys had fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
Armand is great.
Yes, D&D!
Count your left shoes.
Now, you guys
Wow,
liked
yeah.
Derek the Cleric, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Bro.
I adore him.
My God.
I liked him a lot.
All because we gave him money in our last campaign.
gave his dad money.
Yeah, gave his dad random fucking money. And because who was it that burned down his freaking shop?
We don't
And
talk
then
about
we
that.
guilty gave him money.
Yeah, what? I can't.
Nobody burned down his shop.
Oh, wait, nobody even knows about it except for he who must not be named. Fucking Phineas.
Oh no.
God, and then he's the one that gave him the money. He burned his shop down and then later gave him a fuck ton of money and just pretended he was just a nice random person. Even
That
though he's the one that burned it down.
Was spontaneous combustion.
Sure.
Well, I was happy that we got through some side quests tonight in pretty short order. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, you guys have been traveling around the wilderness enough that the roads shouldn't take up too much of your in-game time. Wilderness travel still will have, difficulty to it, but you guys are pros running the roads, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, Derek Nation. Yep, that's right. In any case, thanks everybody for joining in this week and watching this episode of Rime of the Frost Maiden. Hit the follow button, come back next week, and enjoy next week with us as the party moves towards the Black Cabin via Lonely Wood. We'll see you then, 7 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday. Have a good night, and I'll see you guys next week.
No.
What the hell is happening in the chat?